Hi, and thanks so much for joining me for my 2021 favorites so far. If you'd like to see that, please keep watching. Welcome to those of you returning, and a huge welcome to those of you coming from Abby's channel. Thank you so much, Abby, for collaborating with me on this. Abby is one of my dearest friends here on YouTube, and we've collaborated several times before, but I felt like we hadn't collaborated in a while, so I reached out to her and asked her if she'd like to do this video with me. So thank you so much. I can't wait to see what your favorites are, Abby. Now, Abby is almost at 20,000 subscribers, which is quite an accomplishment here on YouTube, so if you have not already subscribed to her, please do. She focuses on luxury beauty just like I do, and we have so many of the same products, but this way you can see them on someone with a different skin tone, different skin type, and the way she uses them is sometimes a little bit different. She really does have a passion for luxury fragrance as well, niche fragrances. So make sure to head over. She features products I've never heard of before. So if you're into that, make sure you head over, watch, and subscribe. And if you're new here, I'm 49 years old. I focus on luxury beauty as well, makeup, skincare, sometimes some hair care. I do vlog every once in a while. And I'm really getting into luxury fragrance as well, more niche brands. So I love learning from Abby as well. And I'm going to be talking about a fragrance today. And if you have tuned into my channel before, I've been doing kind of a rundown of all of the categories: foundations, blush, lipstick, concealers, either top 5 or in one case I had to do a top 10. So I'm choosing from those top 5 or 10 to 1. So that's what I'll be talking about today. So let's just go ahead and jump in. I'm going to start with a primer. Now, I don't use that many primers, but this is kind of the one I've been pulling for a lot. So it's a CHANTECAILLE Anti-Pollution Mattifying Cream. I forgot to mention this. I do have more combination skin, more oily in the center, more dry on the exterior, more dehydrated sometimes as well. But overall, I usually get a little bit more oily here, especially in the summertime. So I apply this in the center of my face. It really helps provide a smooth canvas for foundation. And it says here that it shields against toxic urban pollution and leaves skin looking refined and flawless. You can apply this all over your face as well as your neck, décolleté, but I just apply it to that T-zone area. Then for foundation, I have some really beautiful foundations. That's one of my favorite things to try out. I really feel like with luxury beauty, that is a category where you see a difference and you see a result because you've invested more. So for me, I think that might be one of the places, if I were going to invest in luxury beauty, it would be in a foundation. Once I got down to the 5, which is a little bit tricky because I do have so many to pull from that are beautiful, this one was easily chosen as the number 1 because it is a game changer because of the technology. It is the CHANTECAILLE Future Skin Cushion Foundation that was released this year. I have mine in the shade Nude. It is a cushion, but not like traditional cushions. And I felt like, am I the only one who thinks this is unlike any other cushion I've tried? But then I heard someone else say, and I thought, okay. So usually cushion foundations for me are more like a serum texture, more light coverage, but this one is very different than most of the cushions I've tried out. And so here's what it looks like inside. And what I love about it is it's a more satin type finish, really buildable. So the Future Skin is beautiful. I love that one, but this one really perfects. So if you want something perfected, you can achieve it with this. And what I love is since it's such a thin layer, you don't get a lot of texture. So that can happen. I have hyperpigmentation, it's improved quite a bit, but I still do need some extra coverage with concealer. Based on the concealer or foundation, sometimes it can look really obvious that you're wearing a lot of makeup because you've built it up so much. What's great is that this is such a thin layer, so to cover these areas doesn't take a whole lot, but you get a really seamless result. And I did use this as my concealer today as well. I applied this all over my face and then used my clean hands to just pat strategically in this area right here. So that's what I have as my concealer. It's a beautiful satiny finish. I feel like if you have dry skin, you probably don't need to powder. I do need to powder still with this. It is transfer resistant, so it really doesn't move around at all. So if you have trouble with foundation moving around, you probably won't run into it here. 2 cushions come in the package, so you get this one, and then there's a backup one with an applicator. I use a brush with this, but I did want to mention though that part of the proceeds of this go to feeding a baby elephant with a bottle of milk. And it's a very special bottle of milk, not just any formula. So your purchase does go towards funding that bottle of milk. And that's what I love about CHANTECAILLE. So many of their products benefit wildlife conservation in some way or another. I cannot say enough about that foundation. It probably is the standout item amongst all of these items. Then we've got concealers, and this is no surprise. I've got the Sisley Under Eye Concealer in the shade 4. I've got the La Prairie Concealer also in shade 4. This one's much lighter than this. I go under my eye all the way to just even out that skin tone. It's not brighter or lighter than my skin tone. It's very much my skin tone, which I like. So I never did the whole triangle thing with concealer. I just never got into that. So I just like to even out skin tone. And then I like to take this La Prairie here and then go in this deepest part really strategically. And then I don't powder. So both of these don't require powder to set. And that's the reason I'm willing to pay more for these, because I think with powder under the eye, it can be really tricky. It makes makeup look more obvious, at least on me. So I love that I don't have to powder because it is very, very natural looking. If you see someone in real life wearing this, it will look very natural looking. So I love, 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 love this combination. And they've lasted a while because I don't use too much. So I definitely get my money's worth out of those. It's better for me to have those and know they work every single time rather than purchasing lots of different concealers and trying them out and them not working. I definitely am getting my money's worth out of those. I also don't get any creasing or anything like that under the eyes with those concealers either. Now I don't have a dry under eye area or oily, I just have like a normal under eye area, so I don't know if that's part of it, but the results are just stellar. Then moving on to face concealer. So when I'm not using the Chantecaille foundation, I do need a little bit more extra coverage here. That's not possible with building up other foundations. So I do go in with the Clé de Peau. This has been a favorite for years. In Mocha, it's really easy to apply. It's got SPF 25, great for any discoloration where you're trying to protect it from the sun. Just another layer of SPF is always great for me. And then I also use it in the corners here because right here on my eyes, they're actually downturned, so it changes the overall shape and look of my eyes if I don't put concealer here. So I get a much more uplifted look when I use this concealer, and I will show you in the demo how I do that as well. Another concealer, I've got the Chantecaille Just Skin in 4C, and I use this for the eyelids. So I use it as a primer to even out skin tone as well as put a nice canvas down for eyeshadow. So I like this one. It's a little bit drier than the Le Camouflage Stylo. Again, more normal eyelid area as well. For powders, I still love this Clé de Peau powder. It's so finely milled. Doesn't alter the appearance of my foundation in terms of the color or anything like that. It's just so beautiful going on. Does a great job of setting, but I do like to perfect as well. So I love the, no surprise here, Chantecaille Blur Powder. This is in the original packaging from last year. This is my backup. I'm so happy they brought it back, so that is available now. If you've been wanting to try it and you haven't heard it yet, it is available for purchase. Here's a picture of it, how it looks now. I believe this is limited edition packaging, but it's really so fun and whimsical. This powder is amazing. It's just the right tone for me. Blurs everything, including texture and discoloration for me. So that is a win-win right there. Anytime I've been asked about what I'm wearing, usually it's this. It looks more airbrushed if you like that perfected look. I do set with this in a pinch, but when I want to do all the steps, I'll use the loose powder and then go in with this and finish with it. And it just is the most beautiful powder. I've tried other finishing powders, other powders with the same types of claims, and this one far exceeds the other ones that I've tried, at least so far. So if you're wanting to try it, now is your chance. It is available on various websites that I've seen, so I'll list them all below. And then for brows, I quickly have fallen in love with this Gucci eyebrow pencil, which is amazing because I have been loving the Dior pencil as well as the Chanel, but this one is a powder pencil, so it has a different quality to it. The other pencils have more of a reflective quality. You can see the light kind of shining off of it. This doesn't have that, which is what I love the most. It's really easy to fill in sparse brows with this really quickly. Not the best for drawing in individual hairs, that's its only drawback, but I do need more filling in than anything else, and I do have to fill in the front as well. And then I just use this spoolie to kind of break it up, especially towards the front. Really quick, easy. The only thing is it is also a sharpen type pencil, so you do have to sharpen it. That's the only thing for the people like me who don't love doing that, because usually I will lose the sharpener, but it's worth it to me. And then going in with the eye gel. This is not pretty looking, so let me just put that down, but it's a So Cute Clear Brow Gel. Really great if you have full brows and you don't need to add any kind of color to your brows, but I do, and then I go in with this. It's a more natural look as well. Plus I add quite a bit. I like fuller brows with this, and then I just want to kind of get them in place with something clear. So this one's really nice, this is a cute one. Then moving on to bronzer. Now I do have two here because one's more of a contour. So I chose the Wayne Goss. It's the Radiance Boosting Face Palette in actually just this part. So I took a matte shade in medium taupe and I used that to create some dimension. So I have it here. So it's cool, but not gray. So the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder, that's gray on me, which is very much a shadow, but I like this better. It's so smooth going on, seamless application, really difficult to get wrong. I just applied it here, and then I love this bronzing powder. So for the bronzing powder, I like a little bit more warmth, so I'm going in with the MER, this one, and I just take the powder brush, this one right here, and I swirl them all together, and I buffed it in on the exterior. So I love this, and I love the powder brush as well. If you're ever wondering about this, anytime there's a sale, I'd pick it up. It definitely is one of my most used brushes. This has a really nice warm tone to it though, which I really like. So I love this, and I've used this all over my face as well. So if you want to kind of just give yourself a glow, nothing sparkly in here, just a really beautiful glow and some warmth to this. Speaking of a couple brushes, before I forget, I did want to mention the Shiseido brush. If you haven't heard me talk about it before, it is really quite a special brush, and I know many of you have picked this up, especially those of you who are makeup artists who have lots and lots of brushes. You've picked this up and let me know this is a special brush and that you pull for this amongst your other foundation brushes. I was thinking about this the other day, that it's almost like you have 4 brushes together. That's what's so unique about this brush compared to any other brush that I have. So I'm wondering if that's part of the magic of this brush. But if you were ever looking for a foundation brush that's going to make your foundation look really perfected and doesn't require a lot of blending, I would go in with this, because I just apply like this and it's already blended because of this brush. It's just such a smooth application, flawless. Every foundation I've used it with, it works beautifully, so it just makes the foundation that much better. And I do use it with that cushion foundation as well. This other brush, the powder brush, the Buff and Blur brush, they have a mini one now with the new release of the powder. I use this all the time, and then when I travel, I like to take this with me too, so it'll be nice to have one just dedicated to travel, and that way I'm not having to take this out of my regular makeup area, because it is a daily, everyday kind of brush. Going in with eyes, this one was a little tricky because I'm so loving the Chantecaille palette that I didn't create it, but I curated it. So you can choose your own colors here. If you haven't seen this before, you just start with the empty palette, you buy it separately, and then you choose the colors, and you don't have to buy 8 all at once. You can buy 1 or 2, and over time add what you like. But I was fortunate enough to have them send me all of these shades. They are really beautiful, beautiful shadows if you haven't tried them. They don't get as much attention as the limited edition items that they come out with. Those get a lot of attention, but those staples of theirs in the permanent collection, beautiful. In fact, I do want to pick up more, even though I have 8 already. There are some other shades that I spot that I would love to try. The one that I did pick, because this one has been the most consistent in terms of, since I purchased it until now, that people have asked about whenever I've worn it. I've done so many get ready with me's using this palette. It is the Chanel Tisse Rivoli. I love that it's a neutral palette, but it still has some interest to it. I love this finish. So that's my ideal finish, is a satin finish. There's a little bit of shimmer dispersed in 1 or 2 of those shades, but not enough to distract me from it. You'll see in the Get Ready With Me how easy these are to use, and how especially that deepest shade right there just goes on so quickly, blends really easily, and I know many people love this one as well, and I think it works on most skin tones. So the people that I know who have said they love this, they look totally different in terms of their coloring, and it still works really well for them. So if you wanted just one Chanel eyeshadow palette, this would be the one that I would recommend. Before I forget, we've got fragrance. We've got this one by House of Sillage, and thank you, House of Sillage, for introducing me to the world of fragrance. I feel like these niche fragrances are like fine art, where you have to learn about them to really appreciate them. I feel like I've learned so much about fragrance from House of Sillage because they've been so generous in sending me so many beautiful fragrances. But this is my favorite one, and I have been loving it because it's such a nice balance. So the top notes on this are grapefruit, bergamot, orange, and to me, there smells like a lychee lychee kind of fragrance, which I really love. And then the heart notes are rose and jasmine is one of my favorite fragrances in terms of floral. So that and bergamot. Bergamot's also one of my favorite fragrances. But the base notes are moss, musk, and caramel highlights. So it's a perfect balance, really sophisticated, but fresh and very springtime at the same time. I love this. I wear this daily, and it's one of the ones that comes, it's a travel case, really gorgeous travel case. And inside is the glass bottle. So there are 4 that come in the refill. So once this is empty, I can just put another one here. And this is my daily fragrance right now. It's so beautiful. So for eyes, mascara, of course, Chantecaille Faux Longest Lash Mascara, the one with the peptides. I love this so much. Again, it doesn't do all those things that make mascara difficult to work with. It just is beautiful every time. And it's not like some mascaras that change over time based on how long you've had it. The life of this, it performs consistently from beginning to end. And actually, I'm not sure of the time frame on this. I will try and list it below, but from beginning to end, very consistent, really buildable. And I like to go in with like 2 or 3, maybe 4 layers of mascara sometimes. And it looks stunning every time. I also love Chantecaille's eyeliners. An interesting story when you go to the Get Ready With Me, I think I thought I was putting on one color, but actually put on another color. So I meant to put on Violet Damask for the video, but I inadvertently applied Slate, which is still beautiful. I think it worked really well with this. This one's a more difficult color to get a hold of, by the way, but it's beautiful. But I did since go in with this one, the Violet Damask in the tight line area, because I love it for brown eyes because it's not black, it's not brown, but it's something interesting. I especially love it with Lapis in here. The Chantecaille palette right here, when I use it as a powder eyeliner, and then I use this in the tight line. It's so pretty. So I do have that in now, but just know in the Get Ready With Me, I'm using Slate, thinking it's something else. But they are beautiful. I love all of their eyeliners, really smooth going on. Then for lip products, I do love the Chantecaille Contour Fill. It really smooths everything over before I go in with lipstick. And then I've been loving this lip liner, which is unusual for me. I usually skip lip liner altogether because I usually can't find a color that I want. But this one really neutralizes that exterior color, makes everything more even. So when I go in with a lip color, it's more consistent. So in the demo, you'll see what that looks like. And then for lipstick, I was on the fence between these 2, but I decided to go with something cooler. Usually I pick a warm lip, the Hermes 21. I love this one. But I thought this one would work really well with a cool lipstick. And so I picked the Lip Veil by Chantecaille in Rock Rose. And this is one that I had not had on my radar, but it's so beautiful. It's a beautiful berry color. And I love the formula anyway. It's nice and hydrating. We'll see how these rank at the end of the year as well. Then we have the Chantecaille Liquid Lumiere for highlighter. And I love this because it is a liquid highlighter, yet it dries down really beautifully as well. So anytime I love a powder highlighter, it's usually because it was born of a liquid formula. It is more muted if that's what you like in highlighter, which is what I like in highlighter, something more muted. Really beautiful shade as well if you ever wanted to try it. And if I didn't mention my earrings already, they are by Dior. I get asked about them almost every time that I wear them. I do leave the information in the description box below. It's the first thing before I even list the makeup, but I know it's easy to miss. So if you're wondering about them, they are by Dior. They are costume jewelry, so they're not real. The cost is high for them not being fine jewelry, but I do get my cost per wear, although they were generously gifted to me by my sister. But had I purchased them, I definitely would be getting my money's worth because I wear them all the time. I love the elongated line they provide, as well as this interesting design. Now, someone asked me, do you have to have 2 ear holes for this? No, you don't. Actually, let me just take it out for you really quick. You just need one. So what it is there's this larger pearl and then there's this chain connecting them. So there's this piece right here. So you just take that and then it's like any other piercing, and then there's a hole here and you just put it on like that. Much easier to apply than I think they look. It looks like a really complex design, but very simple to put on. I do have the information down below if you would like to take a look at them. I think I had 10 favorite blushes, but this one has been a standout ever since I purchased it. It is the Chanel blush, the one that is limited edition. So if you were thinking about it, make sure to pick it up. It's just the most beautiful shade. And what I think is so unique about this one and difficult to get right is that there's a luminosity about this, a glow, but there's nothing sparkly in here. Usually if something has a glow about it, it can emphasize texture. So I always like to test by bringing the blush all the way up here because I have more enlarged pores. And if you're going to see any texture, it's going to be right up in front here. And I love to put blush in the front because it does color correct for me a little bit. So if I can get blush on this area, which is why I go for more mattes because that is easier to do. But if I can find a blush that has a glow about it, because I love the glow, I think it's so pretty, but I don't love the texture. So anytime you can find that, that is a standout blush for me. And this delivers on that. It's got that glow, yet doesn't emphasize texture. Great shade as well, especially if you have a warm skin tone, but you can go as intense as you want with this, or you can make it as muted as you like. And I do put a little bit of powder on top because I think on application I went a little bit overboard like I normally do with blush, but I think that this is just the most stunning blush. And I said way back when, is it too early to call my favorite blush of 2021? And it has held fast even though I have so many really beautiful blushes. Please make sure to head over to Abby's video. I will leave the link below. I'm so curious to see how many of our items overlap. And I'd love to know what your favorites are so far this year. And thank you again so much for returning if you are a regular viewer, and welcome again to those of you who are just joining us. That's it for today's video, so please take care of each other, stay well if you enjoyed this video. If you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time.